But guys, there's a 4-step process to this. And if you have lower back pain and it hasn't gotten better and you've been fighting it for potentially years, you're messing up at one of these things, I guarantee it. Maybe you're doing 2, 3, or even 4 of these, but maybe you're not taking them to the extent that you need to finally get your relief. And who am I to say this? I don't know. I'm a biomedical engineer and a guy who had a lot of back pain and figured it out. And the intro to this video is what I needed to hear 7 years ago when my back pain episodes first started. And these 4 things all center around the mantra of fix the muscles, fix the pain. I firmly believe that the muscles in and around your back can be a huge liability and a detriment to your body and an absolute pain, life-sucking, tension and havoc-wreaking system. Or on the bright side, the muscles in and around your back can be an asset. They can work with you as God intended. If you just head down, focus on creating back muscle assets instead of liabilities, like your life's gonna get way better. Guys, I was seriously in the dark, depressing trenches. My back pain was a 5 to an 8 on any given day. Some days it would even lock up so bad that it was a 9. Couldn't get out of bed in the morning and I'd have to crawl. I've skipped classes, work, social events because of my pain. There was one time I needed my ex-girlfriend to drive my car so I could lay down in the back because I was driving and my back hurt too bad and I had to get out of that position. Guys, I know how bad it is, and I don't mean to come off as too blunt, but this is the formula. This is the system that worked for me and works for everybody I try to help. All right, these 4 things: massage, stretch, strengthen, and habit correction. Massage, stretch, and strengthen kind of need to be done in order, because what we're doing with these 3 steps is we're taking them from tight and weak to pliable and strong. And in order to bring a muscle on that journey, it's better to release the tension and the tightness first, because if you start with strength, you'll still have that tension. So if you eliminate the tension first and then build strength on top of it, you'll have a complete optimized muscle. Whereas if you start with strength, you'll still have the tension until you do something about it. And habit correction, the 4th thing, you can kind of do in conjunction with all of these. You can even start it today. And that's like optimizing your posture, making sure the right muscles are activating and turned on, and practicing good spine hygiene like Stuart McGill recommends. But back to the massage, stretch, strengthen trifecta. Step 1, massage. Get rid of the tension. Step 2 is stretch. And the reason we want to stretch is because once we release the tension, we still typically have short muscles. And when we stretch after doing a good, thorough massage, our muscles are so much more open and susceptible to stretch that we can gain a lot of length and a lot of movement capacity. Like, for example, why we want to stretch is because if you're someone who can't get into this position or reach for something without triggering pain, you would probably benefit a lot from increasing some mobility and flexibility and movement capacity in that area where you feel stiffness and it fighting you. And one guy who's great at this is Ben Patrick, the knees over toes guy. I've honestly taken a handful of exercises from him because he has some awesome, amazing, potent stretches that allow you to get so much more out of your body in terms of movement capacity, like the elephant walk, the seated good morning, which I created a single leg seated good morning variation off of it because I think it's more lower back friendly. Like things like that are just gonna help lengthen your muscles so they're not wrenching in and around your lower back and not causing pain. So once you massage and stretch, we're still on step 2 here, you're not done. You're gonna feel so much better at this point. And if you don't really want to live an active lifestyle, you can probably be done. But if you want to ever get back into sports or competing or lifting weights or being strong, you're going to need to strengthen, because without strength, you're not going to have resilience and you're going to be susceptible to falling back in the pain cave in the future. And the best guy for resources on strengthening is honestly Stuart McGill. He created the McGill Big 3, which most lower back PT programs are completely based around, and he's been doing back pain research for decades. Pretty much all the lower back strengthening exercises I promote on this channel are derived from his work in some way or another, but he's a great guy to check out for that. But in a nutshell, to give you some value on strengthening here, is you want to look at the back and the core as 3 parts and 3 sides. So you have the front, the side, and the back, and you want to strengthen all 3 areas. So his McGill Big 3, for example, it's the bird dog, which strengthens the back, the side plank, which strengthens the side, and then the curl up, which strengthens the front. Whatever you do for your lower back strengthening regimen and routine, you want to make sure you're hitting all 3 angles, because if any of them are weak, that's like a weak link in a chain, and your core chain is only as strong as its weakest link. So you want to make sure you're building up all areas. What I've found with most people is that they need to build the sides the most. Most people are very strong in this plane, but they aren't very strong in dynamic 3D planes, like reaching for stuff or playing a sport or swinging a golf club or doing anything that's not just straight up and down like this. So strength shortcut would be just target the sides first if you're constrained on time, but at least be cognizant of all three and where you might be lacking. And the fourth component to overcoming lower back pain is habit correction. And I kind of group this into posture correction and practicing good spine hygiene. Posture correction, I have made a couple videos about. There are several people who have several great videos on YouTube about this, so I don't think there's any lack of information and what to do there. You just gotta do the work and get your head and shoulders back, like I'm not doing right now. But for spine hygiene practices, this is essentially to make sure you're not doing anything dumb and lower back angering. And a great resource for this is, again, Stuart McGill's Back Mechanic book. This was the first I got introduced to that principle about 4 years ago. And one thing that really stuck out that will kind of help you incorporate this into your daily life is the less you trigger back pain, the less you trigger back pain. And the more you trigger back pain, the more you trigger back pain. And that sounds so mundane and simple, but it is so true. Like if you can do everything in your power to just not trigger back pain, I don't know what it is. It's something about the nerve connections becoming less sensitized and less used to triggering pain when you do that activity. But you will gradually be able to do that again without triggering pain if you don't do it and trigger pain enough time. It's like rewiring your brain to teach you that this movement does not hurt. All right, for example, for this point, say you bend forward to touch your toes right now and you have a ton of pain in the lower back. Say you test it tomorrow, you bend forward again, still have pain in the lower back. The day after, you bend forward again, you still have pain in the lower back. You do this every day, and the 30th day, you test it again, sure enough, you still have pain in the lower back. But let's say, for example, you try something different. Day one, you bend over, you feel pain in the lower back, and you don't bend over for 30 days. Here's what's interesting, and here's what's key. On day 30, if you haven't tested your forward bend in 30 days, I would be willing to bet that if you bend over on that 30th day, you won't feel back pain. Even if you do nothing else, you just haven't trained your neural pathways and your brain to think that that's a pain-causing movement. So when you eventually go back to doing it again, it just happens, it just won't hurt. Like today, I can do almost whatever I want without triggering back pain, and I continually surprise myself that I'll catch myself like, oh, that used to hurt a lot, but now I just did that without even thinking and it didn't hurt. Like you don't think about it. Like when you haven't had back pain for a long time, you don't even think about it. And when you have had back pain frequently, you think everything's gonna hurt and it does. And there's something to be said about practicing great spine hygiene and not triggering pain, because the less often you trigger pain, the less often you trigger pain. So yeah, I hope that gives you a good intro into spine hygiene and you can kind of run with it from there. But yeah, that's my take on pretty much everything you need to know on lower back pain. It's massage, stretch, strengthen, habit correction. If you're looking for ways to like actually do that, every video on my channel is about that in one way or another, so just start watching videos. I know I might not be the most entertaining speaker in the world, but if you can knuckle down and watch enough content, you'll start to see how the whole picture works and you'll be able to actually correct yourself. That's my take. The only 4 things you need for back pain relief: massage, stretch, strengthen, and habit correction. For massage, stretch, and strengthen, you can check out my paid products for kind of a fast track to get there in the description below. Otherwise, if you don't want to spend the money, totally get it. Just check out my other videos on this channel for free and consider liking the video and subscribing, which greatly helps me out. And we'll see you in the next one.